Perfect wisdom. With the divisions of the Abhisimilakra. Translated by Edward Conze. University of California Press, Berkeley, Los Angeles, London. Translation of the Sutra. Chapter 11. Similes. C. What to become. The meaning of bodhi-being. The lineage or the source of progress. The lineage as such. Subhuti. A bodhisattva is called a bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, what is meant by that word? The Lord. Nothing real is meant by the word bodhisattva. And why? Unproduced is enlightenment. Unproduced is a being, and so there is no trace of enlightenment, or of a being anywhere. That is why nothing real is meant by the word enlightenment-being. What is meant by the word bodhisatta, that does not exist, that cannot be apprehended? As the source of heat. Just as in space the track of a bird does not exist and cannot be apprehended. Just as the track of a dream. An illusion, a mirage, an echo, an image, a reflection of the moon in water, a village of the Gandharvas, or a magical creation does not exist and cannot be apprehended. As the source of the summits. Just as the track of the reality limit. Of suchness, no falsehood, unaltered suchness, the Dharma element, the established order of Dharma, the fixed sequence of Dharma, the truth, does not exist and cannot be apprehended. As the source of patience. No entity corresponding to a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom does exist, or can be got at, any more than there exists or can be got at the track of the form, etc. of an illusory man. As the source of highest mundane dharmas. Any more than there exists or can be got at the entity which corresponds to the form, etc. of an illusory man who courses in the 18 kinds of emptiness, in the perfections, in the applications of mindfulness, etc. 2. In the Buddha dharmas. As the source of the path of vision. Any more than there exists or can be got at with regard to the Tathagata an entity which corresponds to his form, etc. And any more than there exists or can be got at an entity corresponding to the form, etc. of a Tathagata who courses in all the wings of enlightenment, in the powers, etc. 2. In the Buddha dharmas. An entity corresponding to the word bodhisattva does not exist, just as no trace of the unconditioned element exists or can be apprehended in the conditioned element, or vice versa. As the source of the path of development. Just as that which is meant by such words as non-production, non-stopping, the unaffected, the unmanifested, the baseless, non-defilement, non-purification does not exist, and cannot be got at. And why? What is meant by the words production, stopping, effected, manifested, basis, defilement, and purification, that does not exist and cannot be apprehended? No trace of a real entity corresponding to a bodhisattva exists or can be apprehended, just as no trace of the sign of form, etc. exists or can be got at, on account of the applications of mindfulness, etc. 2. Of the Buddha dharmas, exists or can be apprehended, on account of their absolute purity. Just as in purity no trace of the self, of a being, a soul, etc. 2. Of one who sees, exists, or can be apprehended, on account of the fact that the self, and its equivalents, have no real being. As the source of the antidotes. No trace of a really existing bodhisattva can be found, just as, when the disk of the sun has risen above the horizon, no trace of the preceding darkness is either found or got at. As the source of the forsaking of detrimental states. Just as, when the universal conflagration at the end of an eon has burned up everything, no trace of any conditioned thing is either found or got at. As the source of forsaking the discrimination between antidotes and harmful states. Just as, with regard to the Tathagata, No trace of immortality is either found or got at in his morality. No trace of distraction in his concentration. No trace of stupidity in his wisdom, no trace of lack of emancipation in his emancipation, no trace of lack of vision and cognition of emancipation in his vision and cognition of emancipation. As the source of wisdom and compassion. A real entity corresponding to the word bodhisattva does not exist, and cannot be apprehended, just as one cannot find or get at the track of the light of sun and moon. As the source of the virtues of a bodhisattva not shared with the disciples. The track of the splendor of the planets and constellations, of jewels and of lightning flash. As the source of the successive actions for the welfare of others. Of the splendor of the gods, from the four great kings to the highest gods, and of the bodhisattvas. As the source of the action of the cognition which works without any effort. Or of the splendor of the Tathagata. And why? For there. Subhuti. What enlightenment is. What the bodhisattva is, and what the tracks of the bodhisattva are, all these dharmas are neither conjoined nor disjoined, immaterial, undefinable, non-resisting, with one mark only, i.e. with no mark. A bodhisattva should therefore be trained in non-attachment to all dharmas, and in their unreality, in the sense that he does not construct or discriminate them. In addition, he should understand all dharmas. 5. The objective supports. Classes of dharmas. 5a. The object in general. Subhuti. What are all dharmas? And how should a bodhisattva be trained in their unreality? How should he understand all dharmas? The Lord. All dharmas are the following. Wholesome, unwholesome, and indeterminate. Worldly and supramundane. With outflows and without outflows. Conditioned and unconditioned. Common and uncommon. These are called the all dharmas. A bodhisattva should be trained in their non-beingness. These are the all dharmas which a bodhisattva should understand. 1. Worldly wholesome dharmas. Wholesome worldly dharmas are honoring father and mother, recluses, Brahmins, and the elders of the family. The foundation of meritorious work consisting in giving. In morality, in meditational development, the one connected with the service, the one derived from material gifts given, in faith, to the Tathagata. The 10 wholesome ways of action. The 9 worldly perceptions, i.e. the perception of a swollen corpse, a worm-eaten corpse, a festering corpse, a bloody corpse, a discolored corpse, a mangled corpse, a scattered corpse, the bones, a burned corpse. The 4 worldly trances, the 4 holy unlimited, the 4 formless attainments, the 5 super-knowledges. The 10 worldly recollections, i.e. the recollection of the Buddha, of the Dharma, of the Sangha, of morality, of renunciation, of gods, of breathing, of what concerns the body, of agitation, of death. These are called wholesome worldly dharmas. 2. Worldly unwholesome dharmas. Unwholesome worldly dharmas are the 10 ways of unwholesome actions, i.e. taking life, taking what is not given, sexual misconduct, false speech, slander, harsh speech, frivolous talk, covetousness, ill will and wrong views. Anger, enmity, jealous disparagement, contentiousness, harming, envy, meanness, conceit, false pride. 3. Indeterminate dharmas. Indeterminate dharmas are indeterminate deeds of body, speech, and mind. The indeterminate 4 great elements. The indeterminate 5 dominants. The indeterminate 6 sense fields, the indeterminate 4 formless attainments, the indeterminate skandhas, the indeterminate elements, the indeterminate sense fields, and all karma result. 4. Worldly wholesome dharmas. Worldly dharmas are the 5 skandhas, the 12 sense fields, the 18 elements, the 10 ways of wholesome action, the 4 trances, the 4 wholly unlimited, the 4 formless attainments, the 5 superknowledges, and, except for the supramundane dharmas, whatever other worldly dharmas there are. 5. Supramundane dharmas. Supramundane dharmas are the 4 applications of mindfulness, the 4 right efforts, the 4 bases of psychic power, the 5 dominants, the 5 powers, the 7 limbs of enlightenment, the holy eightfold path. The 3 doors to deliverance, i.e. emptiness, the signless, the wishless. The dominant of I shall come to,